Hello everybody and welcome to the Mentor Mom YouTube channel. I'm Jill and I'm the Mentor Mom. Today we are going to be talking about how to get young kids to listen. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to get young kids to listen. And I'm not going to really focus on getting them to follow directions because I want to do that in a future video. So today I'm just really going to focus on when we're telling them, to stop doing things and the like. So the first tip number 1, say it once and follow through. This is where the rubber hits the road for young kids. I remember many years ago being on a home visit with a mom with a little girl who was just about 2 years old. And while I was there, and I was new to this, while I was there, the little girl was jumping up and down on this glass coffee table. Not for me to judge as a home visitor, right? It's their house, her rules. So I just asked the parent because I wanted to make sure that she was okay with this. And I asked her, I said, are you all right if your little girl jumps on this glass table? And the mom said, no, I don't want her jumping on the table. I've told her 100 times to stop jumping on the table, but she doesn't listen to me. So I said, well, okay, how does that look when you're telling her to get off the table? Can you show me how you would handle this situation? So she proceeded to tell the little girl, get off the table, get off the table. I told you stop jumping. You need to get off the table. You're going to hurt yourself. Get off the table. She must have said it like 15, 20 times. She then looked at me and said, see, she doesn't listen to me. So I responded to her and said, well, which one of those did you mean? And she kind of looked at me like, well, what are you talking about? And I said, well, you said it like 15 to 20 times. Which one of those times did you actually mean it? And she said, well, I meant all of them. And I said, well, apparently not, because your little girl didn't stop doing what she's doing. And so I asked her, I said, if that was a dog chewing on a shoe, how would you handle that situation? She said, well, if it was a dog chewing on one of my shoes, I'd say, stop chewing on my shoe. And I'd go over and I would take the shoe away from the dog. And I said, well, why don't you do that with her? Get off the table and then go move over and take her off the table. And she kind of looked at me like she'd never thought of that before. This is really, really important. If we want our kids to listen, we need to follow through. This is, like I said, kind of where the rubber hits the road. And this is how we inadvertently teach young kids not to listen to us. And if we want our kids as they get older to listen to us, we need to start while they're little. So, let's just use this example of this little girl. If the child is jumping on the table and we say, get off of the table, we should be up moving over towards them as we say, off the table, and take them off the table. Then when they try to get back up, we're going to use our body and we're going to block them from getting back up on the table. We don't need to keep saying, no, no, no. I said, no, you're not getting on the table. We're just going to use our body to block them from getting on the table until they give up. Now, giving up could mean they fall on the floor and have a tantrum and scream, at which point we're just going to let them cry it out, right? Or they may just move on and find something else to do. What we want to send through our body language, remember, 93% of communication is body language and tone of voice. We want to send through our body language in that moment that when I've given you the limit of we're not going to jump on the table or our feet belong on the floor, that I'm going to mean it and show you with my body that I mean it by just standing assertively and limiting you from going back up and doing that. So if your little one does get up and move away eventually after they kind of see that, oh, my mom's blocking me and I can't get up, then we want to say, good job. Thank you for that. Good listening. Okay, so that would be tip number 1. Say it once and follow through. Okay, so tip number 2 is to keep it simple. Less is more with young kids. I've said this several times already in my previous videos. Less is more. We want to avoid lecturing. I hear that a lot when I'm in homes. If you keep doing that, you're going to get hurt. And then we're going to have to go to the hospital. And I don't have time for that. Da, 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 da. They're not listening to any of it. Again, they are really focusing on our body language. Interesting point with that young little girl that I was talking about. I said to the mom, is it okay if I try? And she said, go ahead. And so the little girl was jumping on the table, and I said, oh, we are all done on the table. And as I said that, I was standing up and moving towards her. She got off that table and took off and went and found something else to do. She clearly knew that she understood the words, and me coming towards her meant, okay, this is where the limit is. This is when I have to stop doing it. Use your body to send that message, but keep the message really, really simple and no lecturing. It goes in one ear and out the other. It doesn't work with teenagers. It doesn't work with toddlers. So that is tip number 2. Keep it simple. Less is more. Tip number 3 is to be assertive. Now, this might seem like an odd one, but I can't even tell you how many times I've seen parents ask their children, could you please stop touching the TV? Could you please get off of the table? When we say please, when we're giving a command or a direction that we're expecting our child to follow through on, we're really kind of presenting it more as a choice, right? So if my boss said to me, could you please stay late tonight to finish that project? Has a different feeling than I need you to stay late tonight to finish that project. I think I've got a little bit of wiggle room with that first one, and I might be like, well, no, I've got things going on tonight, I can't do it, right? So if you're giving your child a direction, just be calm and assertive about it. Get off the table. Stop touching the TV, okay? And again, then go back to the previous discussion of following through with your actions and your body sending that communication. But you know, I've had parents over the years say, well, I really want to work on politeness. Well, we do that all day long with kids. We're always saying please and thank you when they're, you know, asking for food, or when we're giving them food, or if they're picking something up for us, when they're actually following our direction, right? We're always working on manners. But when we're giving a direction, you're just being calm and assertive and just saying exactly what it is that you expect of them, so they know, okay, this is business that my mom and dad are talking about, and I should take care of this. Okay, so that is tip number 3, be assertive. Tip number 4 seems obvious, but we don't really think about it. You know, the old saying, catch them when they're being good, praise them when they do listen. So if you happen to have said to your child, you know, hey, can you throw this away for me? And they do, thank you for listening. You're such a good listener. Thank you so much. So that they start to build these neural pathways that recognize that, wow, these grown-ups really value listening, right? We want them to grow up to understand that, because that has an implication on success in school, right? So we want our kids to grow up and be that Hermione Granger, where when the teacher says, who can tell me, their hand is up already. They haven't even heard the question, but because they're such good listeners, they've already got their hand up because they're confident that they're going to be able to answer that question. So they feel rewarded. It builds their self-esteem when we're telling them what a good listener are, how smart they are that they listen, et cetera, et cetera. So that's tip number 4. Catch them when they are listening, and make sure you give them lots and lots of praise for the listening that they are doing in that moment. Okay? Tip number 5. This is the biggie. Okay? If you don't have the energy to follow through with ensuring for young kids that they're going to actually follow through with what it is that you've told them to do, then don't bother giving that direction if you're not going to plan on following through in some way, whether it's getting up and helping them follow through with it, or if it's for older kids, giving them some kind of consequence for not following through with that direction or command. It's really, really important. So if you're laying there on the couch and the kid is touching the TV and you're super, super tired and you're like, you know what, I just don't have the energy to get up and move them away from that TV, then don't bother telling them not to touch the TV. It's all about the action and the follow through. I know I keep saying that over and over, but it really is about the action and the follow through. Okay. So if you're not going to follow through, you don't have the energy, which I get as a parent of young kids, they're exhausting. But you really want to make sure that you follow through. So if you don't feel like you can do it in that moment, then don't bother giving that direction. Okay. All right, so those are my top 5 tips for getting young kids to listen. I will be talking in a future video about young kids especially, who maybe have delays with their understanding and comprehension, or they're just not tuning into directions, and how to address that. Similar but different in a way. Anyhow, so I'll be talking about that in the future. So if you like what you're hearing, and you may have noticed I've given up on trying to stay under 4 minutes. I can't do it. I've just got too much to say, apparently. I'm still going to try to keep it under 10 so that these bits and pieces of information are short and relevant. I just want to make sure that I'm really hitting all the marks on them so that they're meaningful and useful to you. So if you like what you're hearing, make sure, oh, look, there's Aria. I guess she's going to sneak up on the couch, which is a no-no, but what are you going to do? Anyhow, if you like what you're hearing, make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter, and I'll send you emails right to your inbox to let you know when I've got future videos up. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. The more likes and subscriptions and shares that I get of the videos that I'm putting up really help me in the algorithm in YouTube, which means that I can get my videos out in front of more people, which really is my ultimate goal, is to just be able to provide parents with some quick tips and strategies for these really, really challenging years when we don't have as many tools in our toolbox because we're new at this. So that would be really, really appreciated. I got lots of great things coming your way. I've got, 2 years worth of video content. I did a little content list the other day. I've got so much information I want to share with you guys. But I've got lots of things coming. I've got webinars. I've got some digital courses that I'm working on, and some free resources and ebooks that I'm going to be sharing down the road. So please make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter so you can be the first one to know about all of that. As always, if you have any questions or content that you would like me to cover in my channel, drop me a message. You can do that through the contact button. All of the links are down below. Thank you so much, you guys, for supporting me, and I hope you guys have a great week. Talk to you later.